It is unacceptable, the number of women who experience a sexual assault during their college years, and we're going to help lead the way to change that. We're going to help lead the way in changing our culture so that the culture of victim blaming will stop, so that we will stop asking young women why they wore short skirts and instead ask the perpetrators of these crimes why they thought they could act in this manner. This bill represents that shift. And that's why we're so proud to be here today, to talk about the support we got in the Higher Education Committee, to talk about the fact that we're going to have a vote on it in the state Senate very soon. Our Senate President, Marty Looney, has promised that we're going to have a vote on this bill as soon as it reaches the Senate floor. And it's appropriate for us to be here today at the University of Connecticut, where they've already had this policy for a number of years, and they can tell us, they have told us how this policy has helped them dealing with sexual assault investigations on their campuses, making sure they're really getting to the bottom of what happens in these situations and giving them the ability to hold more perpetrators accountable. So again, I'm really proud to be here today to support this legislation, to have a part in this conversation of this cultural shift away from blaming a victim and towards holding offenders accountable.
We're here to thank you, the student body of the University of Connecticut, as well as students from across the state who advocated ferociously for this piece of legislation. The bill came out of the Higher Education Committee with bipartisan support. It was 14-3. That is very significant for us at the General Assembly, and it moves on to the state Senate, where it will, where State Senator May Flexer will shepherd it through that body.
Affirmative consent both encourages discussions about healthy sexuality and leads to justice for victims of sexual violence on college campuses. As a freshman here at UConn, I was taught the affirmative consent standard through the Violence Against Women Prevention Program. These teachings helped me better understand the definition of consent and that non-consensual sexual encounters are in fact incidents of violence that must be adequately punished. Besides clarifying what behavior constitutes sexual violence, affirmative consent positively addresses victim blaming and encourages offender accountability. When the behavior of the accused becomes the central focus of an investigation, less pressure is on the victim to prove that they effectively resisted their attacker. Affirmative consent urges those adjudicating sexual misconduct cases to ask critical questions of the accused, such as what steps did you take to obtain consent? When did they consent to the activity? How did you determine that the sexual encounter was consensual? In many sexual assault cases, victims are too afraid to verbally say no or resist their attacker out of fear that the violence will escalate. In these cases, the affirmative consent standard is especially useful because it safeguards victims who do not say no, but who also do not say yes. In this way and many more, affirmative consent extends protections for victims.